Good morning, children. How are you? I hope you're all fine by staying at home. You are given some of the questions from the Resources and Development chapter, and many of you have answered well. Today, we are going to discuss about the chapter Resources and Development. In this chapter, we are going to learn about what are resources and how these resources lead to development socially, economically of a country. Okay, first of all, what is a resource? Resource which can be satisfies our human needs, right? So according to our textbook, everything available in the environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided only if it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable. It means to manufacture a pen you need some technology, and then the cost of the pen should be economically affordable. Everybody should be able to buy it. If the cost of the pen is too expensive, nobody could afford it, right? And then it should be culturally acceptable. It means everyone in the society should accept that resource. Then only that can be termed as a resource. Okay, today we are just discussing about the interdependent relationship between the nature, technology, and the institutions. The process of transformation of things available in the environment involves an interact relationship between the nature, technology, and institutions. So it is we, the human beings, interact with the nature through technology and create the institutions like industries, factories, and companies. Okay, and then this leads to accelerate the development of the economy. Fine. Children, do you think really the resources are free gifts of nature? Obviously not, because resources are a function of human activities. Human beings, we ourselves are important components of resources. It means we transform the things into resources. Understand, children? So let us classify about the resources, each one of them clearly. First one, on the basis of origin. Resources. Resources are classified into natural and human. Human structures and institutions. Human-made resources are structures and institutions. It means companies, industries, factories, etc. comes under structures and institutions. And then quality and quantity. The population comes under quantity, and the doctors, the qualified persons or the skilled labor comes under the quality. The next comes to the natural resources, renewable and non-renewable. Renewable means you know very well they can be renewed again. So here it comes continuous and flow, wind comes under continuous and water comes under flow. Biological, natural vegetation, forest. Means all the flora comes under natural vegetation and all the fauna comes under the wildlife. Here comes to non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources again classified into recyclable and non-recyclable. All the metal comes under recyclable, and the fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, natural gas comes under non-recyclable. We discuss the resources classification individually. See, we have four classification of resources here. First one on the basis of origin. On the basis of origin, you'll be having two further classifications, that is A biotic, B abiotic. On the basis of exhaustibility, you'll be having two classifications, that is renewable and non-renewable. On the basis of ownership, you will be having four classifications, that is individual, community, national, and international. On the basis of status of development, we have four classifications, that is actual or developed resource, potential resource, reserve, and stock. Let us discuss each one of them very carefully. First one, on the basis of origin, biotic resource. These are the resources which are obtained from the biosphere or the nature, and all of them they have life. So, example, human beings, flora, fauna, etc. comes under biotic. All the livestock also comes under this or biotic things. Okay, children? Fine. Now comes to abiotic things. So here you can see the pictures of the biotic things, living things. Now comes to abiotic things. All the non-living things which are known as abiotic resources. Rocks, metals, minerals, etc. comes under abiotic things. Here you can see the pictures of the abiotic things, right? So let's discuss on basis of the ownership, exhaustibility. On the basis of exhaustibility, you'll be having renewable resources. Renewable resources which can be renewed or reproduced by the physical, chemical or mechanical processes. They are known as renewable resources. For example, solar and wind energy comes under renewable resources. Again, they'll be classified into continuous and flow, which I told you. Wind comes under continuous and water comes under flow. So here are some of the examples of renewable resources. Now comes to non-renewable resources. Resources which can occur over a long geological times. It means it takes a lot of millions of years for their formation. Example, fossil fuels. But these fossil fuels get exhausted after their use. Metals. Metals are recyclable. We can recycle the metals, but we cannot recycle the fossil fuels. They'll be get exhausted after their use. So here are some of the examples of non-renewable energy resources. Yeah. So let us discuss about the basis of resources based on the ownership. Here comes individual resource. These are the resources which are owned privately by individuals. For example, villages, farmers will be having their own fields to grow their crops. In the urban areas, people own plots, houses, other properties also like plantations, pasture lands, ponds, water in the wells, etc. comes under this individual resources. Now comes to community resources. These are the resources which are accessible to all the members of the community. It means everybody in the community can utilize them. Parks, community halls, picnic spots, playgrounds. These are the examples of community resources. So everybody can access to these resources. Now comes to national resources. Children, technically all the resources belongs to nation, right? It means the country has legal power to acquire even private property for public good. Sometimes we see that railway department are laying some railway lanes, or government is constructing some dams or canals for the public good. So the urban development authority gets empowered by the government to acquire the land or acquire the land for these purposes. So you can see that all the minerals, all the water resources, forest, wildlife, everything belongs to the nation only. So what about the ocean? On the land, we have authority. But ocean, it's not totally ours. Ocean, children, we have right up to 22 kilometers. It means 12 nautical miles. From Indian mainland to 12 nautical miles. It means 22 kilometers, 22.2 kilometers. We have right to acquire or extract anything from the waters. So this kind of waters are called territorial waters. Which waters? Territorial waters. Now comes to international resources. These are the resources which can be regulated by some international organization or institutions such as UNO. So the oceanic routes beyond 200 nautical miles of the exclusive economic zone belongs to this international organization. Okay, so I told you till 12 nautical miles that waters belongs to the particular country. But beyond this 12 nautical miles till up to 200, beyond this, all the water resources belongs to international organization. So you don't have right to mine or you don't have right to fish the resources from this area. You need to acquire or you need to take the permission from the organization. Okay, children. So let's go to the resources based on the status of development. Here comes the first one, potential resources. Resources which are found in a region but have not been utilized. For example, the western part of the Rajasthan and Gujarat, we have enormous potential for development of wind and solar energy. But children, we have not so far developed. But so far not have been developed because the cost of the solar energy and wind energy are high when compared to hydroelectricity or thermal power. Got it? That's why we are not utilizing at present. Tomorrow, in the future, if we find a technology which is much cheaper than this kind of technology and the need arise to use such kind of energies, then we can utilize that. Then this potential resource can be converted into developed resources. Now comes under developed resources, children. These are the resources which are surveyed and their quality, quantity have been determined for utilization. It means we are utilizing these resources at present because we have proper technology and we are successfully utilizing or exploiting these resources. Example, coal mines, gold mines, or all the forests, etc. Okay, these are the examples. Next one, it comes to stock. Stock. Materials in the environment which has potential to satisfy human needs, but human beings do not have appropriate technology to access these resources. For example, we know that ocean water is composed of two components called hydrogen and oxygen. Two compound two compounds of hydrogen and one compound of oxygen. So if you divide these two compounds, we'll be getting an inflammable gas, hydrogen. But we don't have proper technology to convert it into to divide it into two parts, hydrogen or oxygen. So that's why this can be termed as what? Stock. Now comes to reserve. Reserves are just a part of stock, children, but thing is, it can be put into use with the help of existing technology, but we are not utilizing at present. It means these can be used for meeting future requirements. For example, the water in the dam. We can utilize the water in the dam, but we cannot utilize all the water at a time, right? Because the water in the dam can be used in different ways. Some of the water for hydroelectricity, some for water for irrigation purpose, some for companies, industrial purpose, domestic purpose. For different purpose, we can use it. But at a time, we cannot use all this water. We can store this water for future sake also. Likewise, forest also. Forest we have will get paper from the forest. Will get many forest based products also. We will not utilize all such resources at a time. We'll also store them for future purpose, preserve them for future purpose. So that's why these comes under water and dam and forest comes under reserves. So I hope you all understood this topic very clearly, children. We'll continue next time.